Have you ever been in really bad turbulence?
Have been, yes, have been.
Did you believe in even more gods?
I believe that, and I just felt that I was getting too close to God. That's
You don't even have to listen. Turbulent. You don't even need the turbulence. Sometimes you just walk in the plane and you see a couple of shady characters, and you're like, "Oh God, please help us get through this flight."
Yeah, I actually once got on an airplane and Donald Trump was there, and I said, "Oh God, please get me through this."
Yeah.
But he did not grope. He did not. He did not. Not me. No.
Did you feel bad though? What's wrong with you that he didn't grope?
No,
you?
he's
What
very,
do you
very.
not have?
No, he's
He's
homophobic. There's no doubt in my mind. It's an incredible thing about Donald Trump. Here's the only man on the planet that has said on a tape 10 years ago with Billy Bush, "I am a groper." And then he said, "I'm really not a groper." And the girls came out and said, "But you are a groper." And he says, "Well, no, I'm not a groper. I'm just a liar." And they said, "You're not a liar. You're an honest man. You're a groper." I mean, this is the most...
The Todd Shapiro Show.
Was it last Friday?
What did he do?
He was tuned into the baseball game, and he was sort of not listening 100% because he was watching the Blue Jays. And oh my God, I never saw any abusive behavior from an employer that comes close to that. Bilal, have you gotten over that?
Well, we should also tell Ali that I was actually on the board that day, so I was on master control of the show.
Oh yeah,
Fist
and you
pumping
were not in
Todd's
control.
face towards that TV, going, "Yeah, the Jays won!" in the middle of a show, and it did disrupt the interview. So it wasn't.
I saw a side of
entirely
Todd.
innocent.
I saw a side of Todd that no one should ever see. Really, that was horrible. I was gonna walk out with Bilal and give him a better job.
Okay.
that's great. You a young man or a jeweler now?
Yeah, that's right.
It wouldn't have been difficult to make him have a better job than
you
this
certainly
one.
lowered the bar there.
Ali Hassan, meet Jack Berkovits. I had a brief conversation.
Well, off air, we had a little, we introduced ourselves, and he's already one of my best friends. I move quick. I move quick. He's a Muslim who's performing at a Jewish festival in Vancouver, and he's the solution to the world's problems. He is the solution.
I always said bacon was, but that's a lot of people get mad at me for that.
Gosh, you are an anti-Semite.
Jack, you don't do it? No bacon in your...
No. As a matter of fact, even Fridays, the Sabbath sets in at 6:15 or so today, so I got to run home quickly. Right. I'm always under the gun.
Well, this is one of the most interesting things about Jews that I've met. My brother-in-law, his mentor at work, he's a lawyer in Montreal. His mentor is a Jewish Orthodox Jew, and then one of his close friends is a professor. He used to have. He was a sociology student, and he took the sociology of the Jews. And him and his professor, who's a Jewish man, have stayed in touch. So I met both these men a few times, and I've been so intrigued by the fact that. This professor, his name is escaping me right now. Marvin is the first name, but Marvin
Goldenstein or
no, it's not as.
Oh, that is so anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic as that.
The Cleveland Goldensteins, I like that.
Jack and I are going to turn against you somehow. It's going to be weird. I don't know what's happening here.
The only thing Jewish about him is the ish part of the Jewish. So not right. Yeah.
And the ew part a little bit. Ew. It's the ew in Jew. Yeah. That's fresh. That's new material right there. Yeah. But this guy Marvin is he doesn't believe in God. He goes to the synagogue, doesn't believe in God, but keeps a kosher home. I'm like, what's the thing? He goes, we were a tribe before we were a religion, and so.
No, I'm not sure that's true, but
he gave me a number. 40 years, I believe he said, was how long you were a tribe before you were a religion.
I don't know where he gets that from, but I will tell you this, that I wish for him that he should be caught in massive turbulence at 35,000 feet above ground level.
We were just trying to solve the world's problems a few minutes ago.
No, I'm not wishing him harm.
Oh, I thought.
No, God forbid. No, he's going to find God at 35,000 feet above ground. Sure. And when he lands safely, he will be a man who believes in God. I maintain that anyone who doesn't believe God has never been in turbulence.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Have you ever been in really bad turbulence?
Have been, yes, have been.
Did you believe in even more gods?
I believe that, and I just felt that I was getting too close to God. That's
you don't even have to listen. Turbulent. You don't even need the turbulence. Sometimes you just walk in the plane and you see a couple of shady characters, and you're like, "Oh God, please help us get through this flight."
Yeah, I actually once got on an airplane and Donald Trump was there, and I said, "Oh God, please get me through this." But he did not grope. He did not. He did not. Not me. No.
Did you feel bad though? What's wrong with you that he didn't grope?
No,
you?
he's very. He's homophobic. There's no doubt in my mind. It's an incredible thing about Donald Trump. Here's the only man on the planet that has said on a tape 10 years ago with Billy Bush, I am a groper. And then he said, I'm really not a groper. And the girls came out and said, but you are a groper. And he says, well, no, I'm not a groper. I'm just a liar. And they said, you're not a liar. You're an honest man. You're a groper. You know, I mean, this is the most outrageous thing I've ever heard in my life. The man says, no, I'm just a liar. And he says, you're not a liar. You're honest. You're just a groper. You know, this man might. And the miraculous thing is not that he got this far. That's past miracles. Current miracles, he actually still has a chance.
A very good chance.
He still has a chance. I mean, what is happening? You know, it just seems that the more outrageous you are in the world today, the more likely you are to get a shot at running the world.
Well, there's a guy, J.D. Vance. I don't know if you've ever come across his name. He wrote something called The Hillbilly Elegy. It's a book that's come out. And he was a poor guy, grew up in eastern Kentucky.
How do you spell
he's
elegy?
A reporter. Elegy is ELEGY.
What does that mean?
It's like a poem or a story.
It's not something you say after somebody dies?
Almost like a eulogy. It's like a poem or a story. For
Elegy.
Yeah.
I don't think you really mean that. You made that up.
You got there, Paul Paduch. What's the word, Paul Paduch?
A poem of serious reflection, typically a lament for the dead.
I had poem, so I feel like
No, it's a little bit. You said it's close to eulogy, though, so it's very close.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I stand corrected.
Yeah,
Very
isn't
good.
it nice learning?
Oh, look
That's
at your
amazing.
fingers
Elegy,
move on that
elegy.
thing,
Whoa.
man. That was great.
Touching that mic, eh, buddy? Just like it's.
So go ahead, tell
But
me
he
about
talks
the
about
elegy.
how when we think about the poor, we think about poor blacks, poor Hispanics, this kind of stuff. He goes, but the population of poor whites is so massive, and since the Bushes, so forgotten about, right? Bush Senior was so consumed with foreign policy, and that was his big thing: protection, foreign policy, this kind of stuff that. It didn't help the jobs or anything for poor whites.
Well,
And
like
they've
what went down in Detroit. and
nobody
things
has
like,
spoken for them.
right,
And now
right.
Donald Trump seems to speak for them, but because so many of them are uneducated, they don't realize that he doesn't have a plan.
The only thing
All he's doing is finger pointing.
The only thing that Donald Trump has for poor people is that he likes to make poor people, or he likes to make people poor. This man has a very, very checkered history of not paying his bills, of not coming through, or not giving a hoot about anybody. This man is so self-centered, he's so narcissistic that it's crazy. But you say about people, that white people, that there are white poor people, you know, and some of them
not Jews, obviously.
There are some Jews. I was going to say there are some Jews that are poor too. I mean, I know 6 of them.
Yeah.
You know, and
because they couldn't afford one of your diamonds. That's not a good measure.
No, Ali, anyone can afford my diamond.
Oh, good.
Anyone.
OnlyJonesCrafters.com. That's all I need to say. Go on.
Not me 6 years ago, but now, yeah, maybe.
Anyone. Now, even you can afford my diamonds.
When I went to get my wedding ring 6 years ago for my wife, this guy, it was an Indian jeweler, and he was like, look at this one, it's this much money. And I was like, I don't know if I can afford that. This is what he goes, come on, don't be cheap, man. I was like, that's a terrible. You ever say stuff like that?
Not the best sales.
No, don't be cheap, man.
Well, what we do, is we actually don't sell wedding bands. We just rent them out by the month.
Yeah.
They always come back after 6 months because the marriage is over. I'm just kidding, of course. Every marriage that we sell a diamond for or a wedding band for is permanent. It's a permanent marriage. We specialize in permanent marriages.
Not one has been divorced.
No, we don't allow people to get divorced. If they're wearing our jewelry, they are sort of like blessed. I'm a rabbi.
Yeah.
I'm an ordained rabbi.
Is that okay?
And I too was a professor at Concordia University in Montreal.
Oh, no kidding.
It used to be called Sir George Williams University. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, of course.
So I know of all these Marvins that you're talking about, Siegelstein or whatever his name is, and we.
Now you're being anti-Semitic.
Yeah, how dare you, hypocrite.
No, I'm just, you know what? You guys are proving, and I'm actually proving with you that if you hang out with dirt, you know.
You become the.
Hey, that's not. Paul is a decent human being. What are you talking
How
about?
dare
That is
you?
unfair.
He
That
found
is
out the
unfair.
meaning of you.
My mother was so concerned about who I would hang out with, you know. And here, after she passed away, I'm with Toddy and Ali. I am such smut. I am such smut.
They're not even going to be allowed to be buried into a Jewish cemetery now.
Who's they?
You, because of this.
No. If I commit suicide, I'm not allowed to be buried.
Or tattoo, right?
Tattoo is not welcome.
They let it go now?
But they sort of cover it up. But the suicides, they also cover up. But
I like that he comes in here, he has a blast, he gets laughs, he pitches his diamonds, and he goes, hanging out with dirt like you. What?
No. What I was saying is that I'm smut. That's what I was saying.
Oh, you're smut.
But I'm saying I know where it comes from.
How about this? You just enjoy the company because you can be yourself.
You know what? I just pray that nobody in my community ever listens to this show.
You know what? So do I, though. We got that.
I turned down so many radio shows that wanted to have me on as a regular guest because they were too raunchy. And then you came along and I said, you're so good at being raunchy that I can be on your show forever as long as no one in my community listens.
No, but isn't it great? Isn't it great? And Ali told me this earlier. I figured it out, man. I figured all this out. I figured all of it out. That I'm not a dick, but I'm raunchy. And it can work that way.
You're not a nice balance.
Because if you're a dick, you're not a dick. That's the stuff. That's the stuff we have to be afraid of.
You're not a dick, but I have a problem with the fact that we can't say the Cleveland Indians, but everyone can walk around calling Richard a dick. And calling why is that? And
by the way, Jack, you should do stand up. By the way, I'm actually being serious. Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to. I don't mean to. I really don't understand. What is wrong with the Indians and the name and the logo being a brown, North American Indian? What is wrong with that?
Well, let's ask Ali Hassan.
I'm not that type of Indian. I didn't. That's not where my expertise lies.
You don't have a feather in the back of your tiara.
I don't have a feather anywhere.
Yeah.
My tiara.
Yeah,
do you sell tiaras? Was that a sales pitch?
Diamond encrusted tiaras.
No, but the Cleveland Indians logo guy has a tiara with a feather.
Is it a tiara?
I don't think you call it a tiara. I think it's a headband, but if it has jewels,
let us know what that's called, please.
A jewel.
I think it's a headband, but headband to me seems offensive.
That logo is a caricature. That logo is
that's not what they're saying is wrong with it. They're saying it's brown, and if it's brown, it's no good. It's racist. And if
somewhere brown red, either way.
It's okay to call me a Jew. It's okay to call you an Indian. Why are North American Indians upset by the fact that we call them the Cleveland Indians? Why not be proud of what we are and who we are? There's nothing wrong with being brown and Indian.
But I don't think that, I'm being devil's advocate here, but I don't think calling the team the Cleveland Indians and having that logo is any source of pride. I don't think it gives the community. God willing, there will not be any champions of any kind.
Are we being racist to Blue Jays here? I mean, the Blue Jays are not fun. I mean, I don't understand. If the N-word, that infamous N-word, which God forbid I should pronounce on, I have a lot of black people working for me, and they call each other internally by the N-word, and they say it's love. It's a very endearing term when they use it amongst themselves. Comedians all over the world use it all the time, but God forbid you should use it. I should use it. Todd should use it. Anybody should.
Well, I think that's a bit of a different example. The one thing with the Indians, and
both of them are rooted in some very dark history. Well, that's the example.
Here's the rule. Here's the rule. I'm sorry. There is a rule. The rule is if I say anything to you and I mean it from a love perspective, it's okay. And if I mean it from a hate perspective,
but there's perception, intentions. But how can people know that and detect that? How can people perceive?
This is what cannot be detected in a logo and in a name.
Oh, yes, it can. If the Cleveland Indians win the championship, everyone will want to be a Cleveland Indian, and you'll sell a lot of T-shirts.
What if they lose? What about the
then
flip
they just
side?
came in second place. It's like the Raptors.
By the way, not what they are going to lose.
Yes, exactly.
No, they are not going to lose. This is
that's
their
more
year.
offensive. That's more offensive.
This is the. By the way,
you know how many outraged people are going to write in
They're
now?
going to win. I just want to know why he's Shapiro and you're Shapiro.
That pisses me off more than anything, because that guy, I think, wanted to fool people into thinking that he wasn't Jewish, so he changed the pronunciation so he could work in a much more waspy community like MLB. That's my theory on that one.
You're probably right, but I want to know why you applied to change your name.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on what about the Levies and the Levies? What's happening here? Shouldn't everybody get together and have a meeting?
There's not enough unity amongst Jews anymore.
A levy is a fine. A levy is a tax.
Yes.
And a levy is something that blocks the water or something to do with the water.
And what about Eugene? How do we?
He's a comedian.
A levy or a levy? He says levy. Should I be?
You know what? They're both correct. Depending. The truth is, people ask me, why is it Berkovits and why do you spell it Berkovits? So it was a good question. I went to my dad many, many years ago when he was still alive. 30 years ago, he passed away. And I said, Dad, why do we spell it Berkovits? He said, what I know from spelling. When I landed here in Halifax in January the 1st, it was New Year's Day. I landed in Halifax in 1960, and they said, "What's your name?" I said, "Berkovits." And they said, "How you spell it?" I said, "What I know from spelling. I'm a Holocaust survivor." So they put down Berkovits. This is how we spell it.
They spelled it wrong.
Well, who says it's wrong?
No.
Who
I
says
meant they
wrong,
just
you know?
whatever it was.
That's how I spell it.
Before we lose sight on the Indians topic, the only thing that I want to say is this, and I heard it actually from Humble and Fred this morning. I was listening to the program this morning, and what I liked what he said is, whatever it is, and I'm paraphrasing, so that he goes, if this is an issue, like let's make up our minds and let it go away already, like one way or the other. And that's what I liked about, like, why is it only a big topic now in Canada? Because we're playing them in the playoffs. Like, we played them fucking 5 other times during this, or 20 other times. Yeah, but I mean, let's
But this has been an issue for many years with many people.
But
in America.
then they should just go and change it.
No, keep it there forever and let it be a discussion piece, because we will educate. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. That's how we get to discuss things like racial relations and anti-Semitism and racism and so on.
Well, we have plenty of things to help those discussions go along.
But this is a
without
good
the
one.
Indians,
This is a good one. I personally, if somebody tells me that they're offended because I have a brown logo and a guy called Indian, then I'll never use it again. But I'd like to know why he's offended by the fact that he's being called an Indian and he's got a brown
Paul
skin.
Paduch really wants to chime in here. Paul Paduch producing the show today because they won't allow to do it until a contract is signed. You can't touch the board. God forbid something could happen. Go ahead.
I think the biggest issue that they have with it is just that they're not Indians, though. Like, when Christopher Columbus came and he was looking for India, saw brown people, and were like, okay, well, you guys are Indians. And they're like, well, no, we're Métis, we're these people. And he's like, no, you guys are Indians, so now we're just going to call you Indians, and we're going to take your shit. Is that how
the conversation went down?
I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
I'm paraphrasing. Didn't have a personal chat with Columbus, but I think that's the gist of it.
Well, I'd like to know what's wrong with any of that. Like, so they called them Indians, but we're not from India. Don't call us Indians. Why not?
But if you are from a certain somebody goes, I'm Canadian. I thought you were American. Same thing. People have their nationalist their nationalism and their patriotism, and they're due that. They're owed at least that if they're patriotic about who they are and where they're from. So that's what we're talking about. If somebody's Métis or Iroquois and wants to be recognized,
but they're still Métis or Iroquois or Mohicans, but we call them Indians, so they're Métis Indians. And if we were to call them Americans or Canadians, they'd be fine with that, right? So it's Métis Americans and Mohican Americans.
But maybe that's what they're saying. You should change the name of the team too.
But why?
To sell more merchandise.
Oh, okay. Well, now you're talking business. All right. I get
Jack's into the conversation.
All right, let me talk to you about my diamond.
I literally saw a bulb, a hue over his head go off and go, okay.
That was a bulge and it wasn't over my head.
He needs a third jersey. All new jerseys. Bilal, you're like sitting there. I want to talk.
Yeah, I was going to say the Redskins looked into this because that's I shouldn't have even said it, but it said the Redskins.
No, there's still a name of a team, so people can say it. You hear it on every, that's the thing. You can say it.
But anyways, they did a study, and the team would make like tens to hundreds of millions of dollars for changing their name. And again, there have been, in that case, documented people complaining about the name. So if there's a, and it's a minority, it's a vocal minority. I don't think we can ever say it's a majority, but there's a vocal minority, and you can make money. And even the old attire would become collectible. If I was running a sports team, I would do that in a heartbeat.
I just think they should change the maple leaves because it's not even a real word.
I think that's
maple
right.
Leafs,
maple,
that's just like, I mean,
that should be VES, right?
Yeah.
But I believe
they're teaching children that?
I believe that it's all, this conversation that we're having now is what's gotten Donald Trump this far. Getting back to Donald Trump, he understands that we are all sick and tired of political correctness.
Yeah,
we're all tired of political correctness.
With that.
And that's what this conversation about the Indians is all about. It's just politically correct or incorrect. And that's what we, get off it. Like, it's okay to call somebody a name when you're doing it lovingly. It's okay. Stop being.
I think the bigger lesson though is how do we work on that people know it's lovingly? And that it's like, and comedians get it, entertainers get it, strong-minded businessmen get it. They get that you can kind of have some fun, be honest, be direct, and you're not offending people. We had this conversation to start the show. Mm-hmm. How do we get the regular public back on that, as opposed to saying, we can't say Indian, or you can't say this word, or you can't say that word? How do we get to say, hey, let's figure this all out, that we actually are just human beings and we love each other? And just because, there was an old Bizarre, you remember that show Bizarre? Of
course.
Remember the skit with the families with all the different nationalities and religions, and they went down and they told the most offensive jokes of all time?
I don't remember that.
You could never play this bit ever anywhere. Like, I wouldn't even play it on this show today with John Biner.
Yeah.
And I'll play it off air for you guys. I wish it was more like that because they were all just laughing and taking the piss out of each other, and they were ruthless. And they're Jewish stereotypes or Irish stereotypes.
No, anti-Semites.
No, but I'm just saying, like, at that point, it was like, you know what? If we can all get it, but all be a big family, then nobody would care. But we got to work on being the big family is what I'm getting at.
I think everybody does know when it's meant lovingly or when it's meant threateningly. If you call me a Jew, I love it. If you call me an effing Jew, I don't think you mean it. Now, if you're my best friend or my brother and you call me an effing Jew, then I know you're being sarcastic. It's not a complicated thing. If we take
but Jack, you're pretty rationally minded, though. Like in that case, and there are a lot of people, and I'm not saying that irrational people now are the only ones who get offended, but there are some who are just naturally more defensive naturally more on edge.
I don't think it's the people who are offended that are offended. I think it's the people who are politically correct who are offended on behalf of the Indians, on behalf of the Jews, on behalf of the blacks.
There is that. There's always that. As a stand-up comic, I see that a lot. Somebody will make a joke about, we're all in it together, but the joke is like kind of something about black guys. The 10 black people in the audience are laughing, and a bunch of people are either looking around, are we allowed to laugh, or digging their heels in, crossing their arms. I'm like, I don't find that funny, even though they are white. And
I heard
on behalf of another.
I heard so many interviews this week about this Indian topic, and everybody's coming out of the woodwork to protect the Indians, and they say why it's wrong. And I never heard one valid reason as to why it's wrong, and it was never from an Indian. It was always from a white woman who's offended on behalf of the Indians.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing, more than just getting mad at the name, how many of these people who are now making it a big issue are actually donating some of their money or donating some of their time to go and help out Native communities?
I mean, this is exactly
and that's what
question.
I'd rather.
This is exactly the
stop
question.
being a fucking social media, looking great amongst all your buddies. Oh, they're so charitable and altruistic. No, you're not.
That nails it on the head.
You just want people to think that you're something special for your own self-satisfaction.
Yeah.
And that's what
speaks
pisses
to
me
my
off.
heart right there, because I had a woman once, I was making fun of my own community. I'm a Muslim and I'm poking fun at Muslims, and this woman, I literally see her lean back and go like this and screw up her face, and I'm like, it's okay, I'm a Muslim. You don't have to feel like that. And she goes, what does that matter? I don't find that very funny. And, it burned me the entire way home because I didn't know how to deal with her because I got angry. And angry is not funny. It's just, I was hosting. So it's not about me. It's about the show. So I had to be professional. But the whole way home, is exactly what you're saying. Oh, you're so offended by a joke that a Muslim made about Muslims. Are you giving Syrian refugee crisis? Have you donated any money to that? There was a hurricane in this country, in this Muslim country, you're donating there? You're probably not. But your big move is to cross your lips, you cross your arms, screw up your face, and make a comedian feel like he's being super offensive and inappropriate.
So off topic, in Judaism we have conservative, we have Orthodox, conservative, and Reform, which are varying degrees, lesser degrees of observance. I suspect that in Islam you also have
varying degrees. We
right.
do.
You do. So, but you're still Muslim. It doesn't change who you are.
Yeah, look, you could be a non-believer, you could be an atheist and all that, but at the end of the day, this is part of what my show is about, that after 9/11, whether I wanted to be a Muslim or not, practicing or not, and Ali Hassan is a Muslim. You're regarded as such.
We decided that you're a Muslim.
This is it.
So you don't have to wear a hijab, you don't have to wear a burqa, you don't have to, you can wear anything you want or not wear anything you want, and you can eat pork, and you're still a Muslim.
Yeah, look. You're asking a guy who's a fairly moderate, progressive Muslim. Now, somebody else could be sitting here and saying, oh, if this guy eats pork, there's absolutely no reason he should be calling himself a Muslim. There are those people, too.
But that's not what your Quran says. Your Quran says you're a Muslim because you say, I am a Muslim.
Exactly.
So whether you keep or don't keep, you're still... Same thing with Judaism. Same thing with Judaism. We don't have to observe to be a Jew. We're a Jew by birth, you know. Or in your case, or by conversion.
I'm a Jew. You can use me as an example.
You are a Jew.
I eat bacon. Yeah.
You are a Jew with bad taste in food. But you are a Jew.
Good, Jack. That's so the judgment is still there. The judgment is still there. You can't be completely let off the hook.
Okay. Is it really that good? Seriously, is it good?
Oh man, there's just nothing like it. There's just nothing.
It weirdly is like, and listen,
I'm not fatty.
But I'm not.
Do you say that when you're eating a
brisket?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's kosher.
How about short rib? Yeah, but the short, you have some short ribs, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Okay, what's the short rib called in? Oh no, you can't eat short rib. Can you eat short ribs?
Of course
you can eat short ribs.
Yeah, I can eat short ribs.
Oh, you just don't eat milk and meat together. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right.
So you can have a cheeseburger.
No.
But short ribs. What's it called again in Jewish?
Miami ribs or
no, Miami ribs.
That's the cut.
That's actually the best joke I've ever heard in my life. That's amazing. Look up Miami ribs. ribs.
Making ribs sexy again.
I love it.
Yeah, what's short ribs called?
Anyway, it's a term. Anyway, it's in Yiddish. It's like but they're fatty at times.
Yeah, very much so.
The fatty part. It's not great for you, but it tastes. It's like so soft and the juices.
Yeah.
Right on that bone. It's all tender.
Yeah. And what does pork taste like?
If I could define it.
Is there something similar?
Heaven, I think, is the closest thing.
As a
to-
Muslim and as a Jew, I thought the same thing.
How many virgins do you get there? Is it 16?
Here's how good it tastes. I have a piece of it, not even thinking about virgins anymore. That's how good it is. I'm never thinking
You
about
are
virgins.
old. You are old. Over the hill.
It's good. I don't know.
Well, is there something that tastes like pork?
Hey, here's a question for you. So maybe we can have the answer. They have bacon flavored chips without anything to do with pork. It's just the flavor that scientifically they made up that tasted somewhat like pork on chips.
Yeah.
Can you have bacon flavored chips?
Yes, I can. It's
Bring in the crate, fellas.
We're dumping it on you.
It's like champagne.
If there's no
instead
bacon, it's just bacon. It's funny.
But then you might know the taste.
It's one of my pet peeves. I want you to know that we in Judaism, in the kosher, which is a multi-trillion-dollar market and growing, we have decided that we want to emulate the foods that the non-Jewish world eats, which I find offensive. In other words, if I'm not allowed to eat pork, why would I try to find a substitute for pork? If I'm not allowed to eat...
you just want to know what everyone else
cheese.
is talking about.
No, I don't. I'm forbidden to have it, and I shouldn't emulate. And I have a problem with the Orthodox Jewish treatment of that issue by going out there and finding a way. And of course,
Okay. Before I lose my thought. Yes, well, vegetarians. But for me, this is when I started. And don't get mad at me. You're my mentor, and we'll catch up on the mentoring next week when you're on. Okay, Jack Berkovits, OmniDualCrafters.com. But for Passover, one of the things that bothered me a little bit, where I started feeling like it was a bit hypocritical, I'll be honest, is you're not allowed to have yeast. You're not allowed to have anything that's rise because they walked through the deserts, they put it on their backs, and it couldn't rise. They had to eat quickly, and they're on the go. I know that. They want to get persecuted.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, one day, all these like bakers are like, "Oh, I figured out to make the best cake in the world that's 10 layers thick and stacked up, and there's no yeast." And I would look at that, I go, "There's more effort that they put into that," and that's when I started to question, to be honest, what I was doing and eating matzah. Because why not just have some Wonder Bread?
You're so right. When I was your age, I found it impossible to survive Passover. 8 days of eating nothing but crackers that are gluten-free.
You constipated, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And and then as the years go by, every year they come out with another item that's better than the original fluffy.
No, we're supposed to suffer. We're supposed to suffer.
I know we're supposed to suffer
a little bit.
It's not
a recognition of the suffering.
It's not the spirit of the law.
Yeah.
It's not the spirit of the law, and I understand why that would piss you off. I really do.
Let's bring in bacon for you next week. No,
would you?
No.
Would you? I'm allowed to do it on radio because no one can see.
We'll film it. That'll be. My God, YouTube. Ali Hassan, we're talking about the new technology earlier and stuff on how if we were a decade younger, we would have been YouTube stars.
I want to ask your opinion.
But that would be an Orthodox Jewish rabbi eating bacon for the first time and get a reaction video from.
Oh my God! So I pitched an idea today. Let's get your opinion on this.
Okay.
I pitched an incredible idea today. I did it years ago. It worked. I'm going to do it again. The radio shopping network, where I will actually have on a major station in Canada, throughout Canada, maybe Sirius, and I will describe this ring and that pendant and this one after the other, and actually invite you to call and buy it or bid on it or whatever. And if you want to actually see the item, go to my website. It's being streamed live.
Why not just do it on stream like we have this Peaks app, Peaks.com. It's a live streaming app, and create your own marketplace on there, and they can buy it and show it. And I'm actually being very serious.
Okay.
That's Peaks.com is an app you can use on your phone that has a marketplace built into it. Like an Uber. When you order an Uber, your predetermined visa
and
registration.
P-E-A-K-S?
P-E-E-K-S.
Peaks. Like in Peking.
Peaks.com.
Like that's what I do at night. Peaks.com. Okay, that's amazing. All right, I like that.
Serious, something like that.
All right.
So you have your hour, and then Todd and I have our hour where we sell pork online as well. What do you think of that? Can you?
I'd like to.
You open for pork?
I'd put in a bid. I'd put in a bid. I don't want you to be a loin.
You're good, dude. Jack Burke.
There's a repertoire in this man's belt.
Jack Berkovits, thank
That's
you for
not a
hanging.
repertoire. Oh, are you dismissing me now?
We got to move on to Holly Wolf. She was supposed to be here because you were later than you were. Fun. Now I made her wait an hour, and
I
she's
used
lovely.
Holly Wolf, the young lady there
yeah.
who's filming her naval, that's her.
Yeah, she is. She's got like millions of subscribers to her Facebook page. 3.5 million subscribers
To her Facebook
page because she dresses up in cosplay and stuff.
Cosplay.
You want to stay and hang out with us?
This might be better sent in an email.
I-
I think. Got to start right from the beginning.
All right, I've been dismissed. All right,
OmniJewelCrafters.com. The 2 to 2.5 carat diamond special is going on right now. Okay.
Can I tell you this? We had 48 of them last week, and we haven't launched it yet. We're down to 38 of them now. The people have snuck in, and I've been forced to give it out. So
Thieves. I hate thieves.
it's a 2-carat stone. And it's $8,000. There's never been a stone this gorgeous for $8,000 in the 2-carat category. A 2-carat is like a golf ball. It's huge. 2 carats for $8,000. If I have any more by when we launch this program in about a week's time, it'll be a miracle.
Okay, well, I think we already got 2 or 3 spoken for. So we'll, it's all going down at OmniJewelCrafters.com. I love when you come on. Happy New Year to you.
You love when I come on and you're always sending me off. I come for 3 hours.
Listen, Letterman used to have like Matt Damon on, had to send him for the next guest eventually. Like, I'm not listening.
Well, if it's
Also,
good
the
enough.
sun. Don't forget about the sun.
The sun is
though.
setting. The sun is- I gotta go.
I'm doing
sorry.
you a favor.
You know, listen,
if the sun
you
goes
may
down,
want-
it's all bacon all the time
You guys
here.
might want me to stay because I'm the life of the party, but I have to leave. Sorry, guys. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
You're dismissing us.
We're going to miss you, Jack Berkovits.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Turn up your speakers, especially if you're over 65. SiriusXM 168, Canada Laughs.